This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, February 13th, 2008, and this is episode 369 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hodgeberg from StudioCentral.com. On the show today, we have Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hey, brother man.
You know, on this day before Valentine's Day, I feel... Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong show. I'm sorry. Hi, Matt.
What?
You're right, it is.
I was going to tell you I love you, man.
Oh, I love you too, but yeah. Anyway, none of that now. That was for the cruise, not now. Also on the show today, we have Mike Scopa of All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
Bring these gypsy vermin to the Palace of Justice.
Hunchback of Notre Dame, the old show at the studios.
Yes.
There you go. And also joining us today is Fred Block, who's the... Fred, what's your title? You're something of Magic Meets. What are you, the purveyor?
All right.
The Magic Man.
The Magic Man. I like that. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You sound really excited. Yeah, thanks, jerk. Can't get my name right. It's Wednesday, and we're answering your listener questions. And the first one is from Marissa from Jacksonville, who writes,
Sure
hey, guys. I was writing to see if you could help me fight the man. I work at its archaeological lab, and while it may sound exciting, it's actually gotten pretty tedious. Luckily, I had Mouse World Radio to get me through the days. Woo-hoo. Unfortunately, the Nazis at corporate decided the internet radio ate up too much bandwidth, a load of hooey if you ask me, and Live 365 is now blocked by a firewall. I was wondering if any of you had any suggestions on how to outsmart the IT guys and allow me to get my Disney fix. Please hurry with your response, because I'm almost done listening to your show archives, and I assume will be gasp, forced to listen to Lou's show. Thank you guys for all that you do, especially to Mike Newell for running such a great radio station.
Woohoo! Thank you. I'll come and sing the songs personally if that's the case. If you really can't get...
Mike, would MouseWorldRadio1.com work?
When was the letter addressed?
This is actually recent. I threw this one ahead because...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because Live 365 just put in some new software in place to override a lot of the corporate blocks. So I thought maybe if this was an older mail, that she would still have that problem. Yeah, you can try MouseWorldRadio1.com. That's a real play. You need Real Player to play that stream. That might help. If not, a lot of companies, including my own, are blocking. They block Skype. They block Live 365 because of the bandwidth. It eats up so much bandwidth that they don't want everybody streaming, radio on
I
their
have
desk.
another solution for you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
What if she got, on her own, a smartphone, one of those cell phones that has Windows on it?
Right.
Because now you can stream Live 365 on cell phones that have Windows Mobile on it.
Yes. In fact, that's what I do at my desk.
You can put the phone on your desk, put headphones in there so you're not disturbing anybody.
Yeah, or a cheap set of computer speakers I have on my desk. I just plug it right into the phone, and and I'm good to go. It actually works, but you need an unlimited plan because it does eat up a lot of bandwidth on that too.
Absolutely.
Piggyback on the local wireless network, maybe.
Fred, you do IT stuff. Is she any way she can override that?
I would imagine that this has probably been tackled by being able to route the stream through port 80, which is a web port, so that way they can't block it. So I'm not sure how Live 365 works with that, but I would imagine they've come up with a way to do that.
Marissa, if you do go through the option for your cell phone, there's a link on wdwtoday.com on the right-hand side Mike Newell put up, and you can follow it's free software, so all you have to do is just get a cell phone that has it.
Right.
A good opportunity to upgrade your cell phone anyway, and then follow the instructions on there.
There's also a list of which phones actually work and which carriers use it. I have Verizon Wireless, and it works on Verizon Wireless.
Yeah, we've used it successfully on Sprint and Verizon, so.
Yeah. Even in the car, it works great in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Next email is from Mike Fess of Rochester, New York, who's better known as CP1999 on WDWToday.com. Hoorah! First off, I finally had a chance for the first time to listen and chat and call in during one of your live shows on January 28th. I had such a great time that I'll make sure that I'll always have time for all the rest. Newell, thanks for sticking in there and doing all that you could to keep the show going. If I ever have a chance to meet the Fantastic Four, or in Len's case, the Fabulous Four, first round of drinks and cigars are on me. Funny how I assume that this is the type of people to run into you guys.
Fabulous.
Well, Fred and I will take you up on the cigar offer.
Yeehaw.
Now on to my question for young man Scopa. I'm training for the 09 Disney World Half Marathon, and I'm wondering about drink stops. Since I've never ran in any kind of race yet, my first is a 4-mile in February, I was wondering, can I run by and someone will hand it to me, or do I have to actually stop to get water and Powerade? One of my goals is to reach the finish line in under 2 hours and 30 minutes, and figure anywhere I can improve my time will be a bonus. That's it. Thanks for all you guys do and your great work, and keep it up. Also, shameless plug for Go Team Voice.
One of the issues of running in a race with 16,000 other people is that the same 16,000 people will be going for the drinks at the water stations, and what that means is that there are a lot of cups that are on the ground and it's very wet. So it's very much recommended that you slow down, grab a drink, watch where you're running, down the water, and then just pick up your pace afterwards. Running through and picking it up is not the wisest thing to do. In a smaller race where there aren't that many runners, it's a different story. But at the Walt Disney World Half Marathon and Marathon, it's a completely different story because you're running on layers of wet paper, and you could very well slip.
Next email is from Chris Lanning, co-host of the Your Neighborhood Stage Community Theater podcast, and writes, "Hey guys, thanks again for reading my email on your show. It's been so long since I sent it in, I had actually forgotten about it. Anyway, the one song in the cue music of Soarin' I was talking about with the Universal connection is the theme song to the original Battlestar Galactica. The first time I heard it in the queue, I thought I must be mistaken because Galactica was produced by Universal Studios, even though it aired on ABC. This was long before Disney had any connection to the network. But I had heard it numerous times since then, and is no doubt indeed it is the theme to Battlestar Galactica, which according to IMDb was composed by the series producer Glenn Larson. Thanks for playing. I'm sorry you didn't win the grand prize, but as a consolation prize, you'll be receiving a guest spot on the Walt Disney World Radio Show podcast alongside Disney legend Lou Mangello. Fred, that's all you. You can have that consolation prize.
Yeah, I'll skip on that. Sorry, Lou.
Next email is from Sue Coppola, where I'd say, "Hi, Matt. I just finished listening to your show of 2, I think, podcasts on scary places to eat in Walt Disney World. First, I have to say that I'm surprised that more of your panel has not eaten in a wider variety of places. We have been to Walt Disney World at least 30 times, and every time that we go, we try to find one new place. That being said, I had a real problem with the review in Cape May. We have eaten there many times as such members of our traveling party really like the mussels and clams. The comments about getting sick were certainly uncalled for and irresponsible. And then you didn't even mention the ribs and chicken on the other side of the buffet, not to mention the nice cornbread."
Where's she from?
Does not say.
Here we go.
I agree. I think that's a crucial question because some people are going to be a little bit more sensitive about seafood than others, depending on where they come from.
Yeah, no, I agree, Fred, with you 100%. I think, some people... Some people think Red Lobster is the epitome of fine dining, for
Oh my god!
I mean, I'm just saying there are people who think that. So
It's not.
I mean, we all have different opinions. I think our collective opinions that we just not big fans of Cape May. And you do mention the other menu items, but really Cape May is about that seafood. So it's like going to Boma and talking about the peanut butter and jelly that's also available on the.
I even had breakfast. I had breakfast at Cape May with Lou, and we were kind of looking for stuff that wasn't there. So even breakfast was kind of an issue with me.
We actually had reservations to go there one night, and Renee and I actually backed out because several people we talked to during that trip said that they had bad experiences there with the food not being warm. So we changed and went to Kona.
Kona.
Next email is from Rich, who writes, "Hi guys, I just found your podcast by accident a couple weeks ago, and I am now a loyal listener. I'd like to thank you for explaining what Scopa Towers was last week, as you had me very confused as to what you've been talking about. Anyway, my question is, after 6 trips and staying on property each time, I'm considering renting a vacation home in the area for our next trip. The reason being that I've been finding rental rates for 7 days at many locations for considerably less than spending 5 nights at a deluxe resort. I've always been against staying off property, but this time it's looking like a good idea. The pros are more time to relax and not feeling like I have to run around the entire time. The cons being farther away from everything and spending more time driving around. What are your thoughts on renting a house and staying off property? Thanks for your thoughts.
Well, let me just say that there is a very strong rumor going around that starting very soon you will be able to get Dole Whip at Scopa Towers. But beyond that, renting a house, I wish Len was here because he would say it's a fabulous idea. I think that renting a house is the way to go if you have a large group traveling. I think it really works out well, especially if you take advantage of the All-Star Vacation homes there. But other than that, I would stay on the property if your traveling party is small enough to handle one or even a set of adjourning rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a great advantage to being able to have all that space. It's great if you have a lot of people, because they have vacation homes that range from, that can accommodate 4 people to like 16 people, literally. It's that kind of variety, and certainly the price is going to be cheaper. The price anywhere offsite is going to be cheaper, vacation home or not, than Disney property. But you just have to evaluate. If you're fine with the driving and you want to have extra space, that ability to have, meals because you're going to get a full kitchen. A lot of them have private pools. It's certainly up your alley. And I know that Len has stayed in one. I know my fiance has stayed in them, and they all love them. So give it a shot. I mean, you got nothing to lose, certainly. I mean, if you don't like the experience, next time stay on property. So I think it's a good opportunity to try.
Yeah, on the I went on the Wonder for a cruise for my friend who was getting married on the ship, and for his family, he actually rented a vacation home and had everybody staying there in one place, and it kind of reminded me. I guess while we were staying there, it brought up a couple interesting points, and one was that like you had to bring your own towels, you had to make sure that the refrigerator was well stocked, you had to cook your own meals or order out. And I guess the other thing that kind of sinked in a little bit about that was we had to clean up the house a little bit before we actually vacated to go on the cruise. So it had me thinking a little bit that if it was me, I'm not sure. We would have to try it, but I'm not sure I would be completely set on a vacation home unless there was a large group of people. But because that was one of the biggest conveniences, everybody had a place to stay and we all knew each other, and it was great for that. But for if it was just my family, it would be hard for me.
That's a good point, Fred. Yeah, I think you do certainly have to have a certain level of expectations and requirements. And I think because Rich mentioned they want to spend more time relaxing, that would be why it'd be good. It's not as good if you're just going to be using it as a place to stay, like a bed, and that's basically it. Next email is from Steve and Gina Bernhardt of Appleton, Wisconsin, who writes, "Gentlemen, my wife and I have become very devoted listeners to your podcasts. I have a trip coming soon, and it's also my first extended trip that we've taken with my in-laws in 19 years of marriage. Wish us luck. We have made some ADRs on the new 2008 dining plan for the following restaurants during our 10-day stay. Though it may only be of interest to us, we were hoping you could quickly critique our choices and make any suggested changes if you feel there is a better option." I'm going to just read some of these restaurants. You guys, just spit back, good, bad, cancel, fine, I don't care, cat, get off my router, whatever, comes into your mind.
Just read the stupid restaurant.
All right. Matlock must be coming on soon. All right, here we go. First restaurant, California Grill.
Metza. I think it's overpriced.
Yeah, a little expensive, but if you got the money, swing it. Spoodles.
Yes.
I would say
I'd
yes.
say yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Mama Melrose.
Yes. More recently, yes.
Yes.
Pass.
Ooh. Ohana.
Yes.
Pass.
I give it a yes.
Pass.
Especially if Len is paying. Next, Brown Derby.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
For sure.
Beer Garden.
Yes.
Yes, lots of fun.
Pass. Absolutely.
And
Great booze.
the last one I think we're going to get all yeses also. Ole Cellier.
Oh,
Without a doubt.
of course, monsieur.
Very good. Hope that helped you guys out. Next email is from Phil DeLucia, who writes, "I have a friend who's going to Walt Disney World for New Year's Eve and would like to know if there's anything special going on at Pleasure Island or anywhere else in the world that evening."
Of course.
Sure.
I know there's special fireworks at the parks going on.
From what I understand, the best fireworks on New Year's Eve is at Epcot. Special New Year's Eve tag for illuminations.
Is there anything going on at Pleasure Island? Do we know of anything?
Didn't they used to have, I think the B-52s used to do a concert there? It used to be.
Yeah, they used to have. At Pleasure Island, they do it every night was New Year's Eve, and they stopped doing that.
Yeah, but on New Year's Eve, there was another hard ticket event. It was a little more pricier than an average night there. But they had some really big name acts on New Year's Eve there.
Oh, was this before or after Splashtacular?
Shut up.
Anyway, next email is from Sharon from Virginia, who writes, "Hey guys, great podcast. This may not be a question you feel comfortable reading on the air, but then again, it might help a lot of people, so I'm going to go ahead and ask." Ooh, my favorite kind.
I'm going to go read it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I'm catching up on episodes. I just listened to a recent one where you talked about a quiet, clean bathroom in the Magic Kingdom, and it brought to mind a question I should ask before planning any further trips to the world. My fiancé has what is known as a shy bladder, meaning he has difficulty using a public restroom if there's a lot of traffic going in and out. Can you recommend bathrooms in other parks and any others in the Magic Kingdom that are rather less known used? I'm totally with you. I don't like using public bathrooms, but there are ways around it, Sharon. There's they have basically handicap bathrooms that are separated from the main bathroom. That you'll have like the women's room, the men's room, and then in between, oftentimes in the parks, you're going to have it's a handicap bathroom, or it allows for a handicap person and their helper if need be.
It's called.
And these are private bathrooms. It's just one stall bathroom. It's unisex. These are the best options. I know the one in the Magic Kingdom is by Pirates in the gift shop over there. In Epcot, there's one. Trying to describe where it is. It's across from the entrance to the Land Pavilion. Those are the two that I know completely offhand. Do you guys know the companion bathrooms? That's the word. Thank you, Mr. Newell. Do you guys have any other suggestions of any bathrooms that you know that are pretty unused?
In the Magic Kingdom, I would say like the baby changing stations. I know that's one place you can go, and there's also the first aid area.
Mm-hmm. I'll put a link in the show notes. I have a whole page on Studio Central about the best and worst bathrooms at the studios in terms of traffic and not so much traffic. So I'll put a link in there for you to take a look at that as well. Next email is from Mike Vincent of Fulton, New York. Who writes, "First of all, I just want to say thanks to you guys for doing such an awesome show every week. It allows for the perfect Disney fix between vacations. Also, thanks so much for answering all my other emails on the show. It really helps when planning what to do when we go. My question concerns my family going back to Walt Disney World next year in March. When we go into the parks, we are able to make each park in one day, considering we have no small children and only care about certain attractions. My question that I have for you guys is that even though we only plan on one day for each park, we're considering buying a 5 or 6 day tickets without the park hopper option because of the cost, as we find that is when we purchase the park hopper, we never use it anyway. What we thought we could do is just use the extra days on the ticket to go to another park on the same day, and it would just be subtract another day from the ticket. Is this possible? Can we do something like this? The answer to this is no, right? We talked about this, I think, on previous shows.
That's a good question, Matt. I don't know if the answer is no.
No, you can't do it. I mean, if you go into the Magic Kingdom with a ticket on Monday, and then you leave and go to Epcot on Monday, and you don't have park hopper, it's going to tell you, no, you've already used your ticket for the day and you don't have a park hopper option. We'll let you in.
Yeah, but won't they just say, okay, we'll use your next day?
I don't think it works that way. I think that's... Why
would they not let you do that?
Well, because then if I'm on a 4-day trip, why would I buy park hopper option when I can just get an extra 4 days for $5 a day? Or you know how cheap it gets when you get...
I know, but the letter, the person who, the caller is, the listener is saying that they may want to do that. And if they want to do that, why would they be stopped? I mean, the turnstile, the biometrics doesn't care. I don't think the turnstile would care. As long as you have a day.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought it was you get 1 day per park. I mean, you get 1 day on your ticket to use, and if you don't have hopping, you
use up another day. That's what my thought is.
I don't think that's the case, but I guess we'll have
check it out.
Yeah, I'll go check it out. I'll go buy 2 1-day tickets and see what happens. Next email is from Jeff Carr from Mandeville, Louisiana, who writes, "Great podcast. I've been a listener since episode 1. Can you believe that? I visit Walt Disney World 2 to 3 times a year. And I've always saved my fast passes from previous trips and had no problem using them, even when they were 6 months to a year beyond the issue date and time, and never had any problem doing so. I just returned from a trip to Walt Disney World, and it seems that things have changed. While attempting to enter Soarin' with a fast pass from the day before, issued on Monday, good for 8 to 9 p.m., arrived at Tuesday at 9:30 a.m., I was denied access to this attraction. Should I throw away all my old fast passes? I have some for Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Everest, etc. Is Soarin' an exception since it's hugely popular? Well, now they have the new fast pass system where they have the date written on the bottom of them. It used to be the case. I know that we talked about it on some older shows where you could do that.
Yeah, the fast pass, the type of paper that they're using for the fast pass now may be well different than the one that he has right now. So that could very well, raise a flag for the cast member when he's handed the fast pass. So that could play into this.
Yeah. Next email is from David Caffrey of Memphis, Tennessee, who writes, "Hey guys, is there transportation provided from the resorts to the start line for the Walt Disney World Marathon and Half Marathon? I know when my wife ran with Team in Training, they had a bus, but I think that was just for Team in Training. Does Mears sell a bus ride to the start line?"
I don't know. I think it's...
Aren't there resort buses available?
There are resort buses available, and they start leaving the resorts around 3 a.m. So they will take you to Epcot, and from there you go to the start. I don't know how Mears plays into this, though.
Oh, I don't think you're going to need Mears. I think the resort buses will do it fine. I know that.
Yes.
I had from this past marathon, Mike, Eric from Mousecast Weekly and Lisa, who also was on Mousecast Weekly occasionally, they both use resort transportation with no problem. So
Right.
It is
Just got to
definitely
get up early.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You got to definitely give yourself plenty of time.
There were also a whole bunch of other buses that were there that they were like, they might have been Mears buses, but some of them were unmarked, and they all had the same piece of paper in the front window that said they were going to this resort or that resort. I don't know if they were leased buses, maybe Disney, hired out extra buses just to cover the crowd, so that they can cover both park guests and the runners. But there were a lot of additional buses there that weekend. A lot.
I don't know. I think if it was me, honestly, just so I can stay in that calm and cool frame of mind, I would probably have a rental car.
Yeah, I would.
That I wouldn't want to stress that morning. I wouldn't have to worry about punching the clock and making sure that you're going to be at the bus stop on time, and that I would just want more predictability.
Got to agree with you there, Fred. That's what you do, right, Scopa?
Oh yeah, I don't want to depend upon anybody else. I just don't want to take that chance. I'm echoing Fred's sentiments. There's just too much on the line there. I mean, you train all year long. You pay a lot to enter this race. You don't want anyone to, you don't want to depend upon anybody, really.
Next email is from Erwin from Belgium, who writes, "Hi, love the show. I have two questions which I hope you'll be able to answer. We're from Belgium and usually stay off-site and rent a car, as it's easier to visit other Orlando attractions that way. From what time onwards can you park on the Walt Disney World parking lots for free? We have a Walt Disney World Ultimate 21-day ticket, which allows for unlimited entry to all the parks, water parks, and other Disney attractions throughout our stay. This ticket is only available when booking through Disney Europe for European visitors. The ticket allows us, for instance, to go to Kennedy Space Center during the day and then drive back to Walt Disney World to see Wishes, for instance. Last time we did this, on some days, we still had to pay for parking at the parking lots at the parks, and on other days, they just let us drive by without having to pay for parking. My question is, until what time do you have to pay for parking? Are there any rules to that?" I think what it means is if you get to the park, if you drive into the park like ridiculously late in the day, like I'm talking like maybe an hour before the park closed or something like that, I've seen it. There's no one manning the booth at the parking booth. You just drive through. Right. I don't know what policy, if any, is. I think technically they're supposed to be there, and may not actually be the case. I don't know. Do you guys know any different?
I think it's usually, I want to say it's usually about an hour before closing. They won't charge for parking. Okay. That's what I've noticed most of the time. It's about an hour before the official closing time. They won't bother charging.
Erwin also wants to know, we're staying off-site. Are we allowed to go to dinner at a restaurant at a park during extra magic hours? For instance, on March 6, 2008, the Magic Kingdom closes at 7 p.m. for regular guests, but remains open for resort guests until 10 p.m. Are we allowed to make a reservation for, say, 8 p.m. at Cinderella's Castle? I understand we will not be allowed on any of their rides, but can we go to the restaurants after the official closing time for a non-resort guests?
As long as you are in the park before the extra magic hour begins, you're fine.
Great. Next email is from Jake from Chicago, who writes, "Hey guys, I'd like to know how the crowd levels are usually in January. We're planning to stay once school resumes after winter break next year. I'm assuming that the crowd levels will be fine, but my family isn't so sure."
For winter break?
Like January.
My
it depends on.
with January.
Yeah, January is a great time of year after, like, the first couple days after, New Year's, because it's still kind of crowded there from people who are there for New Year's. But once you get beyond, once you get to Marathon Weekend and beyond that, I mean, Scopa, you were there for Marathon Weekend, and Newell, you were there too.
It wasn't that bad, man. I didn't think the Marathon Weekend was that bad.
No, I mean, Martin Luther King Weekend, you see a little bit of a spike. But aside from that, really, it's, the parks are very, very, very slow. And I certainly had been there in January for a lot of times during random trips. So
Yeah, we've been there several times during the first and second week in January, and we've never really seen high crowds. It's been great.
Next email is from David, who writes, "Hey guys, love you, love the show. My wife and I went to Walt Disney World in September of 2006 for our honeymoon. Our son was born in August of 2007. I wanted to hopefully take him down to the world for his 5th birthday, which would be in 2012. My question is, how far out should I start looking to book a room and tickets? I got at least 4 years to get this question answered, so time isn't an issue. Love the O&A references. Frunkus."
See? I told you.
When would you say, Scopa, we're talking about a trip in 2012. When would you start, booking something?
2012? I have booked as far ahead as 2 years. So I would say 2 years.
You can always call a good travel agent and just have it, they can tell you, they'll probably take the hold for you, and then they'll book it when it is available, because there's a window where Disney takes reservations for, and certainly by booking as far out as possible, they can certainly get you ready to go, so that when it does come out, you'll have it ready, and then you'll also have a choice. You'll have the run of the mill, really, in terms of, if you want a specific view at a specific resort, you'll have it right there. So a good travel agent will do that, and certainly we should mention that the official travel agency of WDW today is MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, so certainly they'll be able to help you with that. Yeah, we need a ding or something for that, Newell. We need cash register sound or something.
I need to get a separate thing. Like, that Len's ding is his ding.
No, I'm saying get an old-time cash register, and then every time it happens, ring it up with a sale.
That's what I need. More stuff in this room is what I need. More junk.
You can put cat there when it gets annoying.
How about a doorbell?
One last email is going to be coming from Joel, who writes, "Regarding the infrared light for a camcorder, I remember something I was told once. I was told that they were not allowed on the ride, don't remember which, because they use infrared cameras to keep an eye on the guest during dark parts, and use of the camcorder would affect the camera and distort or block the picture. Don't know if it's true, but that's what I've heard." I know that someone had asked us about filming and using infrared cameras and everything, and Joel was writing to us to indicate why you can't use infrared cameras.
That's possible.
Or cameras with infrared light, rather, I should say.
It makes sense.
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.todaycom. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hodgberg. We'll see you on the next show.
And Fred Block.
And Fred Block. Love you, Fred.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio. This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and Mouse Fan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.